Hello, hello, hello. How is good Wednesday? What day is it today? It is Wednesday. My name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night. We come together every Wednesday night and draw a portraiture from, let's see, what time is it? From 7 until about 7 to 8 o'clock East Coast time. And yep, that's what we're going to do tonight. So last week we missed the mark because I had some technical issues, but we're just going to pick up right where we left off and keep going forward there. So here we are. What was the name of this? Let's see. What was the name of this guy here that we're drawing? I can't remember now. So this guy was he was an Indian. He was never official chief. He was voted as a chief, and he was a big part of American history of uniting, I think, the Indians with the United States or something to that. And someone is going to probably light me up for something I'm missing. But anyways, this came up, and I thought that someone had brought him up, and I thought, oh, this is a great example. So this is a good idea to draw. So this is what we're doing tonight, okay? Anyway, so let's take a look at drawing the human head, because it is probably one of the most coveted or desired things that people want to be able to draw. And you know, I try and come every single week. And there she is. Had to be for the live chat. Hello. Hello, Leah. How are you? Woo, she's in the house. So, yeah, so the human head is extremely hard to draw. And I'll tell you, when you start to get your confidence at drawing it makes a world of difference. So that's why I put so much emphasis on it and try and draw it with you every Wednesday night. So good. You said you're feeling good. I'm glad to hear that. So listen, look what I brought. I have this plastic skull that I have in the basement, and let's just talk about it for a second, okay? Let's try and make this the easiest thing in the world. That's always what I'm trying to do, okay? So from the side view, as you can see, if I hold this up, let me go like this, okay? You kind of have the large oval. It's a side view, so it's really elongated, almost like an eggplant. Okay, and then look at this. The front part of the skull is very flat. It's almost square-like with this jaw down below. All right, so let's remember that. And then if I turn it toward you, look what happens to the head. Let's go just like this. It's very flat. Very flat on the sides and round at the top, and it's almost like a giant rectangle, except it's curved on top. You see that? All right. So just remember, when you on the side view, there it is. It's going to be very elongated. Front view, it's going to be very square, and then you get to a 3/4 view. And you're going to combine those things. So, okay, so let's check that out tonight. So let's start off with the simplest way I know how to get you to start thinking of construction. And I always say, don't worry about likeness, worry about the construction. Get your construction down and the likeness will fall into place. It's like this. It's like if you were going to draw the map of Texas. Well, you wouldn't probably start with drawing the city of Houston or the city of Dallas. No, you would start to form the outer shape, and then you would fill in smaller shapes and then smaller shapes. And that's really kind of the approach we want to take when it comes to construction. We look at larger shapes and then break those down into smaller shapes. So let's start off with a volume versus a shape. A volume is mass, okay? So here let's get this right here, right? Let's go up here and look at that. Make sure I got the right pencil. Great. So look at this here. Wow, is that not easy to do? That's a sphere. That's a simple sphere, and all we have to do really is to draw like an equator line. Wow, look at that. We just drew a sphere. You all could do that. And then if I took that sphere and I put it kind of along its side, wow, look at that. All right, now we have more of an eggplant shape. Okay. Let's do this. Let's draw this next. Let's go ahead and draw a cube, okay? But watch how I draw the cube. I'm going to start with some dots here. I'm going to put those two dots really close together. Stretch these out a little bit further there. Let's connect the dots now. I'm doing this loosely. 3 straight sides. Boom. Look at that. That is a beautiful cube you just got there, okay? All right, let's draw that again. But this time, let's draw that over here, and let's just say we're going to come down like this, okay? And we're going to come down right in the middle, just like that. You see that? And then instead of drawing straight across, this thing's going to have a little bit of a curve. Look at that. Boom. There is your there is a side profile of a human head. You see that? All right, let's do this. Let's now put a new layer up here. And let's go ahead and let's draw this cube. I'm going to draw this sphere just like this. There's my equator. And then this time, right kind of alongside here, let's make that the edge of one of our cube there. And then I'm just going to do this. Look at that. All right, almost like that. Just coming in here like that. You see that? I'm just going to put a mark right about there, a little bit off center. And this is almost like I just sliced off the side of that sphere there. You see that? Connect that over there. And let's just drop this down just a little bit like this. And curve that around just like that. All right, right here, I'm gonna take a piece out here. I'm just gonna angle it like that. This is just gonna kind of come straight across here. I'm gonna come back out like this. Make it easy. Try not to make this difficult. All right, let's put a center line in, and this time let's make sure that we move it a little bit to the left. You know, this is going to come up over the top here. Let's follow the surface, coming on down, and then straight down the top, just like that. All right, right here, let's go ahead and just make like a curve, just like this. And this is where his nose, it's almost like a cylinder we just put right there. You see that? I'm going to put the ball of the mouth. Lee, if I'm going too fast, just tell me to slow down. Let's get the ball of the chin in, and just make sure when you're drawing these things, because this is 3/4, you want to show more on this side than you do on that side. So more and less. All right, since this is the ball of the mouth, this is going to have a little bit of a curve to it. And then the chin is going to have a bit of a curve. And then our eyes are going to sit back. Our eyeballs are going to sit right back in here. Now, I know this isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But these are the pieces. These are the pieces of the head. All right. This is going to be the jawline's going to come there, and the jawline's going to come over there. I mean the jawbone, my bad. And then usually the ear will sit back here. You see this? So there's the basics for you. There's the basics of a construction of a head. Let's do another one. What time is it right now? How are we doing? Yeah, let's do another one here. Okay. There's a sphere. Let's bring that line down right there. Okay. And then we'll bring this down as well. Now, one thing we want to be aware of, and I talk about this often, is this idea of fanning out. And this will really give a sense that this thing is sitting in perspective. And what that means is these two lines are not parallel. They will converge together at some point. That's why I fan them out. It's exactly what happens in perspective. The same thing now. We've got this guy going back. Let's fan him out just slightly. It doesn't have to be much. Okay, and you could even like draw an X on this side here, and that's going to be your center line. That's the center of that square, and if we could always find the center of any square just by connecting the corners, and where that cross over, that's the center of the square. So this we could draw a line straight up and then just follow the circumference of the sphere. All right, instead of going straight across here, let's create a slight curve as a visor. And then right about there, that's going to be about where our temple is. And let's just slice off the side of that sphere. So now we're going to have a straight line coming down like this. And that right there is this right there, right in front of the ear there. Okay? Drop down a little bit for the jaw there, and let's just sweep it around. Okay. Let's create the visor or the wedge. It's going to come back just a little bit, just like that. Then we're going to come forward. And that's the center there. So let's come back like this. And then let's come out right about there, I think. Then of course our nose is going to sit on there. So let's draw maybe a more of a box shape down there, maybe, huh? We could add some spheres for the eyeballs. Make sure they're lining up there. There's the ball of the mouth and the chin. And there's roughly our smile. This would probably extend just a little bit further back. And of course the jaw, this is going to come back right back there to the jaw. It's Wednesday night, good times. Good times with me. I'm just going to add a little bit of tone here to help me distinguish the side of the head. And that's it. We're going to move on to our actual drawing here now, but there's a very basic construction. I'm looking at these now. They seem just a little bit, are they all in the same layer? They are. They seem a little bit stretched. So through the magic of the, through the magic of the iPad, I could quickly adjust them, which I'm kind of cheating the system by doing that. But you get, okay, I won't do that. You get the idea. For whatever reason, I just happen to elongate them. But here's the thing, is that, you know, when you're going to draw character design or characters, you're going to have some sort of elongation, but the key is the form is the same. You just have to make sure that once you start putting the pieces in place, you want to just hold on to those the whole entire time, okay? Any questions on that whatsoever? Any questions? Okay, I'm going to continue on now. So let's get rid of that and let's make a new layer and bring up our Indian. And I feel like, I really feel the necessity to start calling him by his name. So let me just bear with me for a second and I will find out his name. Oh, look at that. It's a live event happening right now. Find out his name. All right, I'll just pause that. Okay, this is Quanah Parker. Quanah Parker. Okay. Okay, so let's get on with our friend here and draw this. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I usually have I like to draw using like a 3-step process, and I'm going to open that up. Okay. I usually draw thinking of using a gesture, then I go into construction, and then I go into detail. Oh, it's cool. Okay, you're gonna watch it again. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So these are the processes that we like to go through. And so what is a gesture? You know, a gesture is quickly to put some marks on the page that have a very loose and quick feel for what you're about to draw. So, for example, let's just try a gesture on this and just, you know, I'm going to start off with just a sphere shape for his head, maybe. You know, I'm just trying to put some marks on the page very lightly. Just quickly trying to ascertain where maybe some things might go. Okay, so he's going to have this, I don't know, maybe these are some type of fur, some type of fur things he's wearing. All right, so there's my quick gesture. I've kind of roughly put in where I think the eyes might go, a quick line where I maybe put the mouth where that might go. You know, I quickly roughed in where some of these fur things that he's hanging down the side there, and I put a little mark to where that little brooch or whatever you might call that is hanging there. Okay, so that would be my gesture. That's the first thing I'm going to draw. Second thing is now I'm going to start looking at construction. So similar to what we just drew, okay? Let's look at this here now. Let's just start off with this idea of establishing where his temples are, all right? So the temples are the two small nodes at the ends of your eyebrows, all right? I'm putting my finger on them just like this right now. So they're all going to be about here, and usually this means that at that point the head is going to get flat. All right, the center is going to run right about there, and I'm just trying to stay as light as possible. One thing I'm looking at here, and I'm going to draw this on a second layer so you could see this. Look at this. This is an interesting idea here. Look how curved. Look how curved that is. You see that shape right there? And then of course it's going to be a little bit off center. So this is kind of what I'm seeing in my mind as I am going to move on to my next shape, all right? So that's what I'm looking for. So let's bring this around here. That's my curve. Okay. Trying to get the big shapes here, big areas. Okay, there's the ball of his mouth. And then roughly maybe here's his chin. Keeping it really light. All right, let's kind of get his nose in here now. Now let's talk about this this concept, this idea. There's this thing which I call are the tools of measurement. These are things that I use to try and get everything lined up and squared. There are a number of them, but my favorite is using horizontal and vertical lines and negative space. So let me show you what I mean by that. So a vertical line, straight up and down, might be like this. So look at the left side of his nose there. It's kind of waving a little bit, but it is very kind of straight compared to this side. Look at this now. Watch how much this nose comes like this. But on this side, look at that. There is a greater. This has a lot more ins and outs than versus this side over here. You see that? So that's something that I want to think about as I'm drawing, start to put together where his nose might go. All right, so starting at the center line up here. Remember, the right side, I'm always going to have a little bit more on the right side because he is turning 3/4 view. This is going to have a little bit of a dip there. All right, now this is going to come out much further. You see that? And then I look at his nose now, and this also has a slight, very slight V shape. Very slight V shape. Okay, there's the other side there. And then we're also going to see the side of his nose coming something like this maybe, right? You know, the most important thing that you can do tonight, you've already done it. You know what that is? Just by showing up or just by watching this video. Because if you don't practice the head, if you don't practice these things and you just sit there and don't do anything, then you become very stagnant. But even coming together and drawing with each other, man, that is a big pat on the back. I don't care what your drawing looks like. This will really, just going through the act itself is you're on the right path, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get ourselves an eyeball here. And then I'm going to get another one over here, and the corner of the eyeball kind of lines up with the outside part of the nose there. With the wing. This is all part of our construction. And you could lightly put in your pupil. I like doing it that way because I can make sure things line up. Okay, let's go ahead and get this his lips in here, and coming down here to the septum, and at the bottom it's creating this very defined this very fine V in this top lip. You see that? This morning in the morning draw we looked at the how to draw lips in a lot of detail, so let's use that. So I like to, when I start putting the lips together, I like to look for the corners. So like I like to put a dot in either corner right here. All right, and so once I put a dot on one side, I could run a straight line here across and think, oh look, those almost line up exactly. Okay, great. Sometimes they won't if the person's tilting their head slightly, or they're angled their head. So okay, so let's just come all the way across here. Yep. And put a dot right there, okay? And it looks like just at this point in the game, I'm actually drawing my drawing to be a little bit more 3/4 view than the photograph. But that's okay because I'm just going to stick with my construction. And believe it or not, just by following the construction, it will still look like him, but it will look like him as if he was from a 3/4 view. All right, so let's get this in here. So we got the V of his lip there, and look at this. This just kind of curves around there. You see that? And this other one also comes around a little bit and then curves around. Now come in here now and just put a dot there and a little dot over there. More real estate on the left-hand side, and just make a very slight, just a very slight, not a smile, but that overlap, and you can see that. Do you see that in his lips right there? It's quite obvious. If you don't see it, then just let me know and I'll point it out to you. Okay, then we're going to have a straight right there. We're going to come in over there. Oh, I didn't like that one that much. Okay, we'll go with that. All right, and then we're going to have a nice curve at the bottom here. Looks like I'm going to have to adjust mine a little bit, but we could do that. Always making small adjustments. That's why we have erasers, right? Okay, let's add a quick little tone to that, just slight. This will help to keep our eye on the prize and gives us a little bit more information to work from. Okay. Look how defined. Look at the sharp contrast of this shadow right below his lip right there. You see that? That's a great shape. It's very dark. And then look how dark it is right underneath, right? There's a line that goes right at the bottom of his lips. You see that? That's also very dark. Okay, let's continue on here. Look, there's his jawline. Let's just make sure that we're not going too far out there. And this is the corner of his jaw. Look at him. This is what I'm looking at right now. That's the corner of his jaw. And if I drew a straight line up, I could see that it's just to the outside of the eye. And if I draw a straight line across, it's lining up right below his lower lip. There is the corner of his other jaw. Same thing. Let's go straight up. Okay, this shows me that it's like that's the distance there. And this, of course, looks like it's pretty much lining up with the jaw on the other side. So let's see. Okay, that looks good. And I'm good over there, I think. Okay. And then I just have to shift my chin around just a little bit. Okay, and all I'm just going to do is now connect these dots. Oh, made that a little too thick, huh? All right, that looks better. All right, let's continue on here. All right, so let's go ahead and work on these eyes here, right? All right, so same thing as I did with the mouth and the corners of the mouth. I'm going to kind of put a dot where I think the corners of the eye are, and then the eyelid, just think of it, it's wrapping around the sphere here. It's wrapping around, and the same thing on the other side as well. And the opening for his eyes is quite small. Let's do that. And the same thing over here. Let's go with like that. All right. I'm going to fill in his eyes are going to have some dark tone to it. But then I'm going to look closely here. Look at that pupil. And the same thing on this side. All right, let's get this shadow underneath this right eye here. And look at that. It's going to leave just a little sliver of light, just like that. You see this? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Just a sliver. All right, heavy on the outside of this upper eyelid there. And then we're going to come down like this. Looks like there's some tone on the inner eyelid here. All right, now I'm going to go in and start thinking about the shape. Now I'm starting to think about the shape of the shadows. This looks like a big triangle. You can see these wrinkles like at the top part of his nose. Getting these eyebrows in. Just really, I'm looking at where the shape of the light and dark is really what I'm looking at here. All right, let's get a little bit of shadow underneath this nose here. And then I'm going to put his nostrils in. The wing of his nose, the wings of his nose. And the shadow on the side of his nose there, right? How's that looking there? Not too bad, not too bad. Okay. Let's look at the negative. Let's look at the shape of his face now, where his hair is. Let's not really think about the hair per se, but let's look at this negative shape, and this is the negative shape I'm looking at here. You see that? That negative shape is what I'm kind of looking at. Just trying to match that big shape. And you could even just use straight lines and you can make that look like a curve. Putting it in his neck on the side of his head there. And I'm going to say that brooch is just about there. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe further down. Just trying to look at the alignment of it. So the, that is there. It's just off the center of his mouth there. And that's lining up on the inside of his pupil. You see that? Those are lines of measurement. I'm just visualizing where those might line up. And that looks pretty good. So now I can continue working the shape of his face. All right, let's drop this shadow of his cheek in here. And once again, it's just think of it as a shape. When you draw, you're using construction, volume or mass, and shape. Those are all the different tools that you have. And over here, we'll do the same. Now I'm going to run just a very light tone across the entire picture here because of the value of his skin is a darker value. All right, let's get this brooch in here, and it has a round center, but there's a bit of a shadow because it's thick toward the bottom of it. You see that? And then he has these scallops. Could you imagine if this brooch showed up on the antique roadshow along with this picture? Be like, whoa. Okay, so we have that. Now look at this. There's this ribbon that's coming this way, and then the ribbon also is coming in from the other side. It's like a choker. And this is coming down like this. A little bit of a taper. And then I'm going to drop a tone for his chin or neck is right in there. And I can make this even darker. You know, one thing on the lips, if you will notice, there's usually a highlight that runs right along the top of the lip here. This will catch a little bit of highlight of light, so you always want to look for that. And if you look at the picture, you actually can see it. That's something to always look for when you're drawing portraits, especially with someone who's kind of outside or whatnot. All right, so let's continue here. It looks like his ear. I can see a little bit of his ear over here. And then all we're going to do right now is just get the outer shape of his hair. There's a part that's like just going right down the center of his head there. Okay. And this is going to have a lot more mass to it because he's turning away from us. He's got his ear there, so let's see. Let's get that ear lined up. All right, it's almost like directly across. Okay. And let's get the shape of this. Let's get the shape of this fur coming down. It's like a cylinder. You see this? This pelt. And I'm just going to put some surface lines on it to help accentuate and remind me that there is this. Fur coming there, and on this side here, look at this. Okay, so this is going to come in here like this. Really get these, for these surface lines to kind of help you really get how round this is. And then you can see his, this is usually made out of bones, this chest piece here. So let's just make sure that when we do it, it looks like these bones are all lining up in the same direction. So let's just be careful when we put them in. Just go slowly. Try and get them all evened up there. Don't rush it. This ribbon has some folds in it, so let's just put those in as well. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Yep. Okay, all that's really left for us to do now is to go back in there with some tone for his hair. And I'm going to let you do that on your own, because we're up against the hour, and I always want to try and keep these for about an hour in length. Constantly thinking of the surface lines of the how this thing is really round here. That's what I'm always thinking of. Get that shoulder in correctly over there. And I'm just, how I figured that out was I was looking at, here's that shoulder, and if I ran a straight line, horizontal line, to where the brooch is, okay, that's going to give me a good measuring point. Let's see how I did over here. So if I, yep, okay, I'm going to go with that. My brooch is a little bit lower, but I think I'm good there. Okay, so there is our Quanah, and I'm going to let you fill in the hair and some of the darker values there. But that's it. So I think that was a good attempt on all of our parts. Post your work in the Facebook group, and let me check it out. But that kind of brings our hour up, and my name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. I did forget to mention at the very beginning, I should have said this, is down in the description, we do have a free class called the Beginner's Workshop Part A. You should check that out. Also have a regular class that meets every morning called the Daily Draw, and that's also there as well. Okay, that's what I got for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Join our Facebook group. I think you'd really like it. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday Night Live, where we draw a portrait every Wednesday night. Okay? Thanks. Have a great night. We will see you later. Okay, bye-bye.